You three will remain here till your trial in the morning.
In the morning? How are they able to schedule our trial so quickly when we just got arrested?
It seems whoever pulled it off has been watching you three very closely.
That's definitely not ominous at all. You telling us this was all somebody's big plan?
Actually, it is. That's all I can say, though. She wouldn't want me ruining her grand scheme for you three. Enjoy your night. While you still can.
Okay, is it just me, or is it a bit odd that that officer was very specific when talking about whoever planned this?
It's not just you. He said she. The only thing I'm curious about now is if this woman knows us personally or just has a grudge against us for something we did.
Well, it's very possible that it could have been somebody impacted by Amanda's destruction of downtown. But that still doesn't explain how she knew Scott and I were involved, though. They would have had access to our facility and to the lab to know where it came from.
Wait, Jeff, that's it. There was a woman who had access to those things in particular. Remember in the footage of the lab robbery, we saw the figure of a female. However, there was no signs of break-in or tampering. It was like they got in with an official code or ID card. I think the woman who stole those tubes might just be the woman the officer was referring to.
That actually makes a lot of sense. Hold on, though. One thing still doesn't add up. If she was after the tubes and was able to walk out of the lab with them, what use does she have ruining our lives? If you asked me, this woman is sounding rather insane. Unstable, even.
To top it off, she even somehow has pull within the justice system. To have that type of power, she'd have to have very high connections. Well, either that or she's just very good at manipulating people.
I really don't want to wait to find out. We need to get out of here now.
And how do you expect us to do that? It's not like we have any of the shrinking mixture you were exposed to walk out of this cell.
Amanda, honey, please, calm down. I realize we are in quite a tricky situation at the moment, but fighting with each other will get us nowhere.
You're right. I'm sorry for going off like that. It's just, I'm getting tired of bad things happening around us these past few months.
You and me both. I'm not sure how much more of this bad luck streak I can take. And to top it off, we have some grudge-holding woman making our lives a living nightmare. Scott, I'm really regretting showing you that giant skeleton in the mountains now. Seriously.
As am I. Seems all our trouble started with that stupid thing. Was it the find of a lifetime? Of course it was. But now knowing what it leads to, I think you could have stayed frozen underneath all that snow, never to be seen again. As am I. Seems all of our trouble started with that stupid thing. Was it a find of a lifetime? Of course it was. But now, knowing what it leads to, I think it could have stayed frozen underneath all that snow, never to be seen again.
I hate to break it to you, Scott, but there's no going back on making that discovery. The whole world knows you discover it, and people will be talking about it for years to come. I think it's time you came to terms with that. Both of you, to be honest.
I suppose she does have a point, Scott. Both of us went on live TV of all places to talk about this. We could have kept it to ourselves and made it our little secret, but no. That's not what we did. We did what every eager scientist does when they discover something new and go boast about it to anyone who will listen. I'm just upset that happened to be almost the entire science community on every continent.
Yeah, us and our big mouths. Amanda's right, though. There's no going back now. It happened, we did what we did, and the rest is history. What we really need to do now is figure out how the heck we get out of all of this.
And how exactly do you plan to do that? We need a good lawyer to even have a fighting chance in the trial tomorrow morning.
Then it's a good thing I happen to know one. She's never let me down yet.
Wait, you have a female lawyer? That's the first I'm hearing of this. What's her name?
Rebecca Downs. She's been a lawyer for about 10, 11 years now. If there's anyone who can get us out of here, it's her.
Whoa. Are you telling me my best friend, Rebecca, is your lawyer? I didn't even realize she was a lawyer, since she always seems to be free. Some friend I am, I guess.
My lawyer is your friend? Well, I certainly didn't see that coming. And she's more on a case-by-case basis. She apparently only takes the most important clients and cases. I'm guessing because they probably pay the most.
That would explain how she's able to afford the apartment she lives at. I mean, the place is basically a condo. It's insane.
I hate to break up this ever-so-lovely conversation, but is she good enough to get us cleared of both property damage and being in possession of an illegal substance?
I guess there's only one way to find out. We're allowed one phone call. I'm gonna make the most of it.
Please don't screw this up, Scott. I'm not really one for prison.
Thanks, honey. No pressure or anything.
Don't look at me. Amanda pretty much covered exactly what I was gonna say.
You two are just so encouraging today, you know that? Officer, I'd like to use my one phone
You
call.
want to use your phone call, huh? You really think anyone is going to help you after everything you three have done?
I'd like to think so, yes. Now, if you'd be so kind enough as to allow me my one phone call, I have things to do.
Fine. Don't feel too bad when the person on the other line of the phone call abandons you. Down the hall awaits your ticket out of here. I tried to say that without laughing, but it was totally impossible to avoid.
Charming man. I'll be right back, guys.
So how much you betting my friend is actually willing to help us out?
I'd put a good $50 down for her not to help
You
us.
willing to make that official?
Are we seriously making a bet? While we're in jail?
It's not like we have anything else to do.
I can't argue with you there. You're on.
May the best person win.
I so totally have this in the bag.
You're rather confident of yourself. What if Rebecca does help us? Then what does that mean? There's a big hole in your metaphorical bag?
Boy, you really know how to bring a man's hopes down.
It's not hard when the man leaves himself wide open for it.
You have a valid point there. Well, what did she say? Will she help us or not?
After telling her everything, she was a bit hesitant at first. However, once I mentioned you were a part of this, she was more than willing to help us out. I suppose your friendship is worth something to her.
Of course it is. I can't believe you would think otherwise. Oh, and you owe me $50, Jeff.
If we make it out of this, I'll have it to you tomorrow.
I'm sorry, did I miss something here?
Jeff and I made a bet on whether Rebecca would help us or not. Jeff was so confident she wouldn't, while I was more than confident she would.
Alright then. Rebecca said she'd be here in about 20 minutes.
20 minutes? She lives a lot farther away than that. How can she be here so quick when she lives far away?
I guess she just finished another case around the area. You could say it was rather convenient that she was around when I called.
Well, I just hope your friend is as good as Scott says she is. If not, we are all royally screwed tomorrow morning.
Yeah, that's the attitude, Jeff. Just give in now before anything even happens.
Hey, you can't blame me for preparing for the worst in case it does happen.
This is gonna be the longest 20 minutes of my life. I can just tell.
Things are going smoother than expected. By tomorrow morning, I will be rid of the 3 people who stand in my way.
I'm very pleased to hear that, ma'am. But if you don't mind me asking, why exactly have you called me back here? I don't have any deliveries to bring you.
No, you don't. I asked you here because I need your assistance in moving something from one place to another.
And what exactly is the item you need me to move, ma'am?
Not what. Who?
I beg a pardon, ma'am? Are you saying the item is actually a person?
That's exactly what I'm saying, yes. Is that a problem?
Not at all, ma'am. Just like to know what I'm getting into before I start the job.
Then you're smarter than most who just dive right in head first. The person you're moving is the general we acquired after the helicopter crash.
You mean the one that was struck by that stadium?
The very one. The general was beat up a little from the crash, but he remains rather expressive, despite crashing.
I'll get right on it, ma'am.
Oh, and Max,
Ma'am?
fail and you'll find out why it's best not to piss me off.
Understood, ma'am.
Oh, General. When you and I are alone together, we have a lot to talk about.
Rebecca! Oh, I'm so glad to see you.
It's good to see you too, Amanda. You've really got you and your friends in a mess here.
Now that's the biggest understatement of the night right there.
Ignoring that. Can you help us, Rebecca?
I can. The only thing is, the court will ask for something in return. Whether that be community service, all your possessions, items of great importance.
Why would the court ask for that? You're going to clear us of all charges, aren't you?
I'm sorry, Amanda, but not even I am that good. The best I can do is keep you 3 from going to prison.
So what exactly are you going to say in court tomorrow? It's not like the judge is going to be moved by your touching words about how we've done more good for this city than bad.
Actually, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'll make an appealing case to the judge that despite Amanda destroying downtown LA and the three of you being caught with a very experimental item, you have done a lot of good. And because of all the good you've done, the city of LA and the US as a whole has surpassed the rest of the world in areas of studies that most countries only dream of reaching.
I'll admit, that's actually not bad.
No, it's not bad at all. Maybe you could also mention my rather big contribution to the rebuilding efforts in your plea to the judge?
How much exactly did you contribute?
$1 million at least.
So a rather sizable amount. That should definitely add more proof than you've done everything you possibly can to repay the city for what happened.
Well, that may get us off the hook for property damage, but what about the tubes? Even with all the good we've done, the fact that we made those tubes still makes us guilty because of all the destruction and creation of giant-sized humans it spawned.
I'm good at what I do. Let me worry about that, and you just worry about staying alive to see tomorrow.
That we can do. Thank you so much, Rebecca. You have no idea how much this means to us.
Don't thank me yet, but regardless, you're very welcome. See you in the morning.
Hi, Rebecca. At least it seems like we'll get a lighter sentence now if we do it all.
I'll take that over spending years in prison.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't it you who said you were willing to do time for what we did?
I was panicking, okay? Now that I'm here and I know that there's an agenda being played out, I want nothing but to be free of all of this.
Me too. Maybe we should rest up. Regardless of how things go tomorrow, it's going to be a long day.
I suppose you do have a good point.
She usually does. Get some rest, guys. We're gonna need it.
Trial number 33456C, the City of Los Angeles versus Henry Institute Science Division. Judge Hammond residing.
Please be seated, everyone. Today we are here to decide the fate of the Science Division from Henry Institute, who have been linked to the destruction of downtown and of the illegal substance that it contained without the public's knowing. Counselor, do you have any statements that provide enough proof that your client should be set free from these charges?
I do, Your Honor. Being a member of the scientific community is never an easy task. You have to constantly find different solutions to various amounts of issues that arise. In this process, sometimes something is discovered, but is not ready for the public to see. Take, for instance, the scientists who are constantly finding cures for diseases. When they fail at creating the right mixture for the cure, do we hear about it? No. When the cure is actually mixed but not tested, do we hear about it? Almost never, with a few times to serve as an exception. These three have done nothing but work day and night to provide the best possible scientific environment that everyone can be a part of. Do they talk about every single project they're working on with the public? No, nor should they have to. If it was their job to report every project to the public, then they'd be taking the jobs of reporters and news anchors. And correct me if I'm wrong, but if someone is in possession of something they personally made, is that really illegal to have? Granted, what these three had were highly concentrated mixtures, but they were always secured in the most safe and efficient way they could be. To those who are linking the giant woman attack to the Henry Institute, have no solid evidence, and none of the mixture was ever found anywhere near the giant woman nor around the lab at the time of the attack. With all this in mind, Your Honor, these three may not be perfect. Heck, who really is these days? But what I can say about them is that they've done everything in their power to help this city, no matter what the cause. Mr. Henry here donated nearly $1 million to the rebuilding effort of downtown. That is way more than a simple, generous donation. That is a man putting his hard-earned money into something he believes. And since the attack downtown, the Science Division has ceased all projects effective immediately to focus on what the city needs. These three were simply in the wrong place at the wrong time, and for that, I do not feel they should have to endure the sentencing that many have suggested. Thank you.
That was amazing, Rebecca. I never knew you had that in you.
Let's just hope it worked.
Agreed.
Counselor, you make some very valid points in your argument for why these three should be set free. I will also admit that I agree with nearly all of them too. That being said, I'm willing to reduce the sentence for the charges to a simple request. However, if the request is abused or manipulated at all, those 3 will be sent to a high maximum prison immediately.
That seems more than fair, Your Honor. What are the terms of the sentence?
I will let these 3 walk free, under the condition all their scientific records be cleared and stripped from all current or previous projects. They are also never to step foot into the Henry Institute ever again unless authorized by the Institute's president. Finally, they must agree to a full living residence search to prove there are no further illegally obtained items from the Henry Institute. If these terms are kept, then your clients are cleared of all charges and free to go. Do your clients accept these terms?
Yes, Your Honor. They will prove to be nothing but cooperative with law enforcement and beyond.
Very well. Mr. Henry, Miss Holt, and Mr. Chambers, you are all cleared of all charges, but please be prepared to have your living quarters searched as a final sign of you being fully transparent and honest in agreeing to the terms presented before the court today.
Thank you, Your Honor. We'll be prepared.
Case dismissed.
Oh, thank God that actually worked.
No kidding. Way to go, Rebecca. You really saved our butts today.
You all are good people, and I wasn't about to let them put good people in prison.
Much thanks for that. Now we should probably get out of here before the press swarm us.
Agreed. You coming with us, Rebecca?
I have a few things I have to finish here before I can leave. I'll catch up with you later, though.
All right. Thank you again. Truly.
Amanda, you're welcome. Now get out of here. Ma'am, I've completed the next phase. They are now open for the taking.
Excellent work, Rebecca. I'll send you your next instructions later this afternoon.
Very well, ma'am. Tell me one thing, though, if you can.
And what would that be?
What do you plan to do to Amanda?
Don't worry. I have no intentions of hurting your friend. The ones I'm really after are Henry and Chambers. She'll just be around for motivation.
I understand. Thank you, ma'am. I await further instructions. I'm sorry, Amanda, but it's for the best.
I can't believe we actually survived this. I mean, it was just pure luck that the judge was willing to let us go free.
Yeah, but not without leaving some rather deep cuts to our reputations. All the scientific degrees we had, they're gone now. They're non-existent. We also can't visit the lab without President Paxson okaying it. Don't get me wrong. I'm overjoyed we got out of going to prison, but we still paid the price one way or another.
I hate to admit it, but Jeff is right. This may have been a win, but there was so much lost at the same time. I just feel bad for you two.
It's not just us, though. You got a scientific degree in chemistry, which means you also lose any credibility you once had. Not that you really used that degree after college, but the point still stands. We all took a deep blow.
You can say that again.
So what now? We can't go back to the lab, and we have to prepare our places for final inspections.
I'll tell you one thing I'm gonna invest my free time into. Finding out who this woman is that tried to royally screw us over.
Almost completely royally screwed us, you mean?
Thanks, Jeff. Thanks for pointing that out. I really wanted to be reminded how I lost everything close to me today.
You didn't lose everything close to you. You still have me.
I suppose you have a point there. And you're a very good thing to still have in my life.
Of course I am. You'd go crazy if it weren't for me being around.
That's actually pretty accurate.
Finding the woman responsible for it all is not going to be an easy thing, Scott. Regardless of that, I'm willing to help you any way that I can.
I really appreciate that, Jeff. What about you, honey?
You really thought I was gonna sit this out? I'm with you all the way, whether you want me to be or not.
Then I guess it's decided. We're finding the woman responsible for ruining our lives.
Very good work, Max. You may go now. I must admit, General Hammond, I'm rather surprised you survived that crash. It's almost like you were expecting it or something.
I've spent countless years in the Army, lady. I've been in countless crashes worse than this one. I was literally trained to expect the worst case scenario.
My, that's rather impressive if I do say so myself. But you know what I would find even more impressive? The secrets behind those tubes. and what they really can do.
Lady, there is no way I will reveal any of that to you. I've sworn an oath not to reveal highly classified information.
Oh, General, do I look like a woman who really cares about some oath you took years ago? You're going to tell me everything about those tubes, or you'll soon find out why no one dares cross me. So I'll ask one more time. What secrets are you hiding about those tubes, General?
Do whatever you feel is necessary to me. You're not getting crap out of me.
Oh, I have ways of making people talk. Even people like you. Men, take the General here for a ride. If he doesn't say anything, then some time in solitude should loosen him up.
You can try, but I'll never talk. You hear me? I'll never talk!
They always talk in the end, General. It's up to you how much pain you have to endure before you do.
Let go of me! Get your hands off me!
Things are going as expected. The only thing missing is that annoying Amanda Holt. Perhaps it's time I introduced myself to her and reintroduced myself to Henry and Chambers. I just imagine the looks on their faces when they realize their old receptionist was the one who stole their tubes from the lab. Just that alone will be worth it. Max, get in here now.
Ma'am, how can I be of service?
I need you to collect our friends from Los Angeles and bring them here. I'll make sure our asset joins you.
Sounds good to me, ma'am. I shall get on it immediately.
Thank you, Max. You never let me down.
Scott? Did you lock the door before we were arrested?
No, it wasn't really priority at the time. But this doesn't look like it was simply unlocked. It looks like someone forced their way through the door.
The more we look into this stuff, the weirder it gets. And we've experienced some rather weird stuff.
I agree. Something definitely feels off here. Perhaps coming here wasn't the best idea.
And yet, you still came.
You sold us out. I ought to knock some sense into you for doing that.
I wouldn't do that if I were you. If you want to stay alive, you'll follow me. No questions asked.
No questions asked? Do you take us for idiots or something? Of course we're gonna have questions. Which, speaking of, where exactly are you taking us?
I suppose I can answer that one. My boss, the woman who's arranged everything that's happened so far. Is that sufficient enough for you?
That's good enough for me. It's time we showed her what happens when she messes with our lives.
She's not going to see what's coming.
Smart choice. This way.
Rebecca? Why were you in that car? Are you all right?
Oh, Amanda, if only you knew what I knew. And I'm afraid I'm here on orders. The plane is fueled and ready for you, Max. Just make sure you're not seen.
You act like this is my first time moving people undetected. Trust me, I know what I'm doing.
There are days I really doubt that.
Well, I can assure you, today is not one of those days. Now, let's get going.
Fine.
I'm sorry, but can we back up to the fact that there's an airplane ready for us? Where exactly is your boss located? The other side of the world?
Not too far from it, actually. Now shut up and get in.
Maybe it's just me, but I'm kind of digging this more evil and demanding side of you, Rebecca. If you're ever looking to date,
Not a chance, Mr. Chambers. Now get in the car.
Can't blame a guy for trying now, can you?
To think, all these years, there actually was an airstrip on the seafront.
The fact that surprises you is rather pathetic, if I'm being honest.
This place does look like it's seen better days.
It has. It used to be an old war airbase. It wasn't until a few years ago, when our boss bought the land for next to nothing since no one was really using it.
So you guys just use this land to bring prisoners over to your boss? That seems like a huge waste of a perfectly good airbase, if you ask me.
We didn't, so shut it. In the plane, now!
I still can't believe you're in on this, Rebecca. You were my friend. I trusted you.
I know you did. That's what made it so easily to learn all I needed to on you.
You were collecting intel on me? So all the nights we went out, you weren't really my friend. You were just an asset doing your boss's bidding?
You nailed it right on the head. But don't worry. It'll all be over soon. Goodbye, bestie.
When I get back, and I will get back, I'm coming for you, Rebecca. I'm coming for you!
Oh, Amanda, I'll be there too, just a little after you arrive. Max, are you ready?
Ready. Engines activated.
Jeff, promise me, no matter what happens to me, you'll keep Amanda safe.
Scott, don't talk that way. We're gonna be fine. We're gonna make it out of this alive.
Jeff, please, just promise me, okay?
All right, Scott. I promise.
Thank you.
This is M36 en route. Over.
M36, you're clear for takeoff. We're expecting your arrival.
Roger that.
Scott, we're going to make it out of this, right?
I certainly hope so.
That's really comforting. Thanks.
We're gonna be fine. We're gonna make it out of this alive.
Thank you, Jeff. I wish Scott was more like you.
Excuse me?
A bit more positive and confident.
I can be positive and confident.
You can. It's just when the true moment for it arrives, you seem to fall short of showing that.
That's low, man.
This is a private conversation, thank you.
Don't judge Scott too harshly, Amanda. He does have a rather valid reason why he's never optimistic at times like these.
What do you mean? You mean he's experienced something that made him like that?
Actually, yes. It was a few years ago when Scott and I first met, in fact. We were both starting at the Institute. Back then, it was just the Institute. They weren't exactly creative with names back at that point. Anyways, when we started our work in the lab, Scott began growing a different emotional reaction to stress. I never thought it was possible with him, but he proved me wrong.
What pushed him over the edge?
Elizabeth.
Elizabeth? Who's Elizabeth?
Elizabeth Harper was the person in charge of the lab when Scott and I arrived there. She had been working on a few odd projects, not too different from the projects we had been working on lately.
So what happened? Did something happen to her?
Well, let's just say that was the day Scott learned how to do patchwork under pressure.
Patchwork? Like as in medical patchwork? I thought you went to college for scientific theory and research.
I did, but that day was unlike any other day. The things I had to do just drove me over my limit of what I could handle.
What exactly did you have to handle?
Elizabeth had been dealing with medical issues that affected her everyday life. There'd be days she was fine, but the next day she'd be struggling to walk due to sharp pain that came out of nowhere around her body. So one day it came to the point where Jeff and I had to cut into her body and remove some blockage that was causing all the pain she was experiencing. But as we were removing the blockage, she was losing more and more blood, to the point where she was minutes away from dying. It was up to Jeff and I to save her.
Well, go on. Did you save her?
We did, except what we found in the blockage seemed impossible at the time.
Scott, what was in the blockage?
It looks like broke down, people.
Broke down people? That doesn't even seem legit, and I grew to 50 foot tall.
Keep in mind I shrunk down to microscopic size. It's not entirely impossible.
So what? You're saying somehow she created a shrinking mixture like the one we created and ate people for the heck of it? That's all kinds of messed up.
Yes. We had nightmares about it for a week straight. And ever since that day, Scott has never remained positive and confident in stressful situations.
You guys are rather entertaining. It's too bad you're flying towards your last hours alive.
Hey, we're having a conversation here. Do you mind not butting in all the time? Thank you.
Perhaps you'd like to know that we've arrived.
Wait, already? There is no way we went halfway around the world. Not possible at all.
That's because we didn't, wise guy. Rebecca only told you that to mess with you, especially her friend.
We are not friends. She's lied from the very beginning, and I'm not one who really likes being lied to.
I'm pretty sure that's most people, lady. M36 descending at entrance 5.
The base is inside an island? I'll give your boss props. She's got the right idea of how to do a proper base.
I'd be sure to tell her that yourself when you meet her.
Exactly how soon till we get to see her?
Oh, very soon, Mr. Henry. Very soon.
This place is remarkable. If If I wasn't so pissed off at your boss, I'd be congratulating her on all of this.
Then it's a good thing I'm already here, Scott.
Wait, that voice. It sounds oddly familiar.
Oh, I hope so. I did used to work for you after all.
Mary, our receptionist? You're the evil mastermind behind all this crap that's been going on?
Of course. Haven't you heard people say it's never your close co-workers to watch out for? It's the ones you hardly see that you should be careful of. It's pretty clear you didn't even think to notice me a majority of the time at the Institute, but it didn't really matter in the end. It kind of worked out for me. I was always going to get those tubes, and I was always going to reduce your reputation down to nothing but an average man.
And what exactly does that have to do with us being here?
Well, you three are here because I like to keep a close eye on my enemies. Plus, I've always wanted to fight the original giant woman who destroyed LA. I must say, I was quite impressed. You could almost say I was inspired by it.
The second giant woman, it was you! Things are starting to make sense. Granted, later than I wanted them to, but they're clear enough nonetheless.
Yes, Scott. I was the giant woman the boat captain reported. After seeing what Amanda here could do at 50 feet tall, I was inspired to become an even greater, more giant woman. Better than the original.
If you think I'm going to indulge you by fighting, you've got me greatly mistaken.
Perhaps you would think differently about that if your lover was in danger.
You leave Scott alone!
Oh, it's not me that would do any harm. Your old friend, on the other hand, well... she's rather good at making men scream.
Exactly how does she make men scream?
Well, wouldn't you scream if you were squeezed inside the palm of a giant hand?
Wait, you can't be serious. You didn't!
What? What did she do?
Rebecca, she's a giant too!
And a very good one at that. Only second to me, obviously. Now come with me willingly, Amanda. Or Scott will get to spend some quality time with Rebecca.
Over my dead body.
Well, that can certainly be arranged. Rebecca, it's time.
Yes, ma'am.
Good God, was that an earthquake?
No, you idiot. That was Rebecca, and she's coming for you too. You best start running. She's rather good at catching her targets.
Scott, you can't actually be considering what she's saying. She wants to kill all of us.
Honey, I have faith in your fighting skills. Do what you do best and kick her butt. Let Jeff and I deal with your ex-friend.
Scott, this is insane. Don't run. Stay here with me.
Amanda, we both know if I stay here, I'll die.
And if you go out there, Rebecca will surely kill you.
It's a risk I have to take. Now stop arguing and kick this insane woman's butt.
That was unexpected, but somehow rather motivating.
Glad to hear it, honey. Come on, Jeff. We have a second woman to take down.
I swear, if we make it out of this, I am retiring to an isolated island where no one can disturb me with this craziness.
I'm with you there, man.
Amanda, it seems the boys are busy. I think it's time us girls had some quality bonding time, don't you? Since you've already done this before, it should be a rather smooth transformation this time around. And now, for me.
Come on, boys. Just take your deaths with honor. Most men would do anything to go out being stepped on by a giant-sized woman.
I'm not sure where she's getting that information, but it is clearly not correct at all.
Jeff, shut up and keep running! There's a cave to the right. Head in there!
All right.
Oh, boys, where did you go? Come out wherever you are. I will tear this island apart to find you if I have to.
This is insane! A receptionist is the evil woman behind everything? How can we not see that being possible? It makes the most sense.
Well, now it makes sense. Back when we were still going over the footage, we had no clue at all.
I just wish I would have destroyed those damn tubes the moment Amanda crashed into them. They've been nothing but a thorn in my side.
I agree.
General Hammond? I thought you were dead.
That's right. But I never gave them a thing. Their downfall was underestimating my fighting abilities. I made it out of their torture building with very little injury.
Wait, General, are you hurt at the moment?
I'm good, son, but we really need to get out of this chaotic island. To think seeing a giant woman in downtown Los Angeles was crazy. The people here are as crazy, if not even more crazy.
Then you're not gonna like the fact that there are quite possibly 3 giant women around this island right now.
3? How in the world are there 3 giant women?
The tubes, General, remember? That's what caused Amanda to grow.
Of course. How could I have forgotten that? I must have been hitting the head a tad too hard.
It's very possible, General. Scott, we need to get him out of here.
We need to get out of here, Jeff. So if you have a brilliant plan on how to do that, I'm all ears.
Would you two calm down? Clearly all the giant women are away from us. We can walk to the shore and get off the island that way. Come on, follow me.
General, I'm not so sure that's a good idea.
Mr. Chambers, it's the best idea at the moment, so we're going with it. That's an order. Ah, fresh air. It's good to feel that again. See, gentlemen, there's nothing to worry about. It's all good. What the? No! Help me! Help me!
Crap! Rebecca got the General!
Maybe we should remain quiet for a moment, so she doesn't hear us.
I've never had a general before. He was rather tasty. A bit salty, but nothing I can't handle. Now, where are you, Mr. Henry? Mr. Chambers? I'll be sure to be gentle with you if you come out willingly.
What a load of crap that is.
You think? Jeff, I honestly don't know how we're gonna get out of this. I'm out of ideas.
I hate to admit it, but so am I. We are trapped. And for good.
Why did you do that? I never wanted to be giant-sized again.
What a shame. When you're this size, everyone respects you. No matter. You won't be around to see that for yourself.
Bring it on.
You know, there are better ways to meet. Besides, I'm not sure this island will be safe once those 3 colossal women start fighting each other.
It's quite alright, Mr. Reyes. This is what we had planned from the beginning. And perhaps try to complain a tad less next time, would you?
My apologies. I've done as you and your wife have instructed. Mary's right-hand man will become her right-hand mess in a matter of time.
Excellent. I must admit, it's oddly incredible to see 3 colossal women at the same time. To think at one point I thought shrinking someone was a breakthrough. This, however, this is the true breakthrough of the century. It's just a shame that it had to lead to such a messy conclusion. You made sure Mary knew nothing of her plans, right?
Yes, she has no idea I'm here. The only people of hers that she truly knows is on this island is Max and Rebecca. I am curious about one thing, though.
And what's that?
When you baited Mary with this discovery of the tubes created by Mr. Henry, did you and your wife know all this would happen?
Well, Mr. Reyes, as all scientists will tell you, everything is trial and error. The plan was going through a great test trial. But then an error appeared, and in this case, a power-hungry woman wanting the world to be beneath her and to serve her.
So this is like a free trial you get for a website or something. If the results don't please you, you just dump it and start all over again?
Now you're starting to get it. But as free trials go, this was actually better than what we expected. Wouldn't you agree, honey?
Oh, I certainly would. Just imagine what future breakthroughs we could accomplish with all the data we've collected from this experiment.
I'm not sure who's more crazy, Mary or the 2 of you.
Well, to be fair, I did spend a week in my wife's intestines, so if we're comparing crazy, I'm probably the craziest here. Liz here just appreciates my craziness and somehow matches it equally.
Well, we did become rather close that day. So I guess it was only a matter of time before our craziness synced up.
Right. Is there anything further you require from me, Dr. Smith?
Please, call me John. And the only thing I require is that you make sure all of Mary's aid is removed, by any means necessary.
Consider it done. Dr. Harper, Elizabeth, always a pleasure.
And to you, Parker.
Until we meet again. Those 2 are nuts. I really need to find a different profession.
Just think, one day, that'll be me, with you by my side, ruling over all the people that were stupid enough to call us crazy and too experimental.
Oh, I think about that every day. I will admit, Mr. Henry and Mr. Chambers did help us create a name for ourselves. But in the end, it's also created a huge target on our backs. And because of that, they must perish, leaving us with no one to interfere with our plans.
Oh, I love it when you talk all dark and evil. But I agree. The time for Scott, Henry, and Jeff Chambers has come. The rise of a new scientific ruler is upon us.
To our new ruler, may she show mercy to me.
Oh, I can guarantee that, honey. You'll be her #1 man.
This is going to be one for the history books. And for us.
For us. And the world.